Hi everyone, welcome back to the Curious Cat Kitchen, where I show you how to use your creativity and create simple, delicious meals. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kat, and today I'm going to show you a soup that I made to a Christmas potluck yesterday. This is the day after Christmas. I was going to do a different recipe. However, the soup was such a hit that I decided to film it. I originally didn't film it because I'm thinking it's butternut squash soup. It's simple, everybody knows how to make it. So I didn't do it. But after everybody tasting it and the rave reviews, I decided, okay, I will do an episode showing how to make it. So I just got back from the gym. But since I roast the butternut squash, the ingredients first, I'm going to go ahead and put those in the oven, go take a shower, and then I'll show you how I finish it off. I already started. I won't go through the cutting up of the ingredients or anything. Now, the soup that I made yesterday for the potluck is made with, I added a vegan sausage to it. I don't remember the brand that I use, but I've bought it before. They have apple and the apple one. I don't remember. It's like more a breakfast flavor. And then another one that was fennel and tomatoes or something like that. They only have two flavors. Either way, you can add a vegan sausage of your choice, or you can eliminate, like not add it at all. I'm actually out of, because I used it all, I'm out of the vegan sausage. So I am adding my shredded tofu. So you can use, like I said, either the vegan sausage, or you can do the method that I show you today with the baked shredded tofu that I've done before in another video, where it looks like ground meat, and the texture when you bake it enough gives it that chewy, crumbly meat texture. So it adds a good texture to it. I've already shredded the tofu. Again, the whole process you can find on another video, which I can link to this video as well. But and then I seasoned it with salt, pepper, smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, coconut aminos, a little bit of liquid smoke, as well as garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of cumin, and some oil. So I'm just tossing all that seasoning together, mixing it up so that every shred gets a nice coating. Get the flavors all in there. And then you want to just spread it out as thin. If I could use, this is a super firm tofu, and it's high in protein because, nowadays we're all about protein. Pressure to eat protein and more protein and fiber. So I am very intentional of adding that. I cannot see that, but I believe that says 14 grams per serving. So this is the brand I use, is the Sprouts Organic Tofu. They have firm, extra firm, and then the super firm. So today I'm using the super firm. You don't have to. You can use, I've made this way of doing the tofu using just the extra firm, or even just the firm. So that is how you want it. I'm going to put this in the oven. And then I will go ahead and show you the butternut squash. I already preheated the oven, everything, like I said. This is kind of like the pre-process of it before it completes. So I have garlic wrapped in foil. This is a whole head of garlic. You can put less if you don't like it, but I love garlic. One small onion. I'm using red onions because that's all I have. I'm out of the onions, the regular onions that I usually have, so all I have are the red onions, which will be fine. It's one medium size. onion. I have about 3 small carrots cut. And then yesterday I did have a whole butternut squash that I cut up and roasted, but I also had this, use your teeth, organic butternut squash that's already cut up that I bought because I was afraid that I wouldn't have enough in my whole one. Your butternut squash, toss that all on the tray. And then I seasoned it with, it's fine. Some of the pieces are bigger, but it's fine. We're gonna toss this all in. I'm gonna season it with a little bit of salt, garlic powder, just, you know, my regular seasoning that I do, pepper, onion powder. I did also put a little bit of curry powder as well. And as always, season as your heart desires. And lastly, a little bit of smoked paprika, not too much, just like a sprinkle. And oil. And we're gonna go ahead and just mix that all around once again. So that's all. This is definitely less than 1 whole butternut squash. This is probably like 3/4 or half of one, but whatever, it'll work. However much you need to make, that's how much you would use. But the soup can also be frozen, so you can make it ahead of time. But I'm gonna put this in the oven as well with the tofu, and I am gonna let that bake for about, you want the butternut squash soft, as well as the carrot soft enough, because we're gonna go ahead and blend it when that's finished. You want the tofu might have to stay in there a little bit longer to get the desired texture that you want, that chewiness, and that it's like a balance between chewy and crunchy. So I will show you how that texture is. I have the oven at 400 degrees. I don't think I mentioned that. So 400 degrees, we're gonna have that in, let that cook. I'm gonna go jump in the shower, and then when that's finished, I'll come back and show you how it's finished off. I am back, and I did burn the tofu a little bit. So one thing that I'm forgetting, and this is important to mention, is that the firmer the tofu is, the less liquid there is in there. So I had it in there for about 40-50 minutes. And I took my time. And this is what happened to the tofu. The butternut squash is perfect, but I did burn it a little bit, unfortunately. So it's wasting some of it, but this piece here can still be used, the parts that are not burnt. And I believe also, remembering back, I did have the oven yesterday at, I believe, 380 instead of 400, without the tofu in there. But like I said, butternut squash is fine. It didn't burn because there's enough liquid. However, the from shredded tofu did burn, but we can still use it. We can still salvage it, the parts that are not super burned. So what I'm doing now is to make the rest of the soup. I have a pot on the stove. Make it a vegetable broth so that it has flavoring. I do use the Better Than Bouillon vegetable one. It is the organic version. I don't have a lot left because I used most of it, but we're gonna get the rest of it out. I have no more spoons in there. Get the rest of it out and then add some lentils to it for, again, some more protein and some more fiber. So I have the red split lentils and the green lentils. Don't ask me the difference. I actually don't know the difference between them. I just know the lentils are good for you. So I know the red ones tend to be thinner and they cook a lot faster, probably because they're split. And then the green ones are a little bit thicker. So we're gonna add a good amount of each to a strainer to just rinse it before we add it in. And also with the butternut squash, you know, you can always, like everything else, get creative with it. You can add tomatoes to roast it. You can add zucchini. You can pretty much add whatever flavors you want that would go with it to add in it. Because that's what I love about soups. You can do so much with it, especially if you're blending it. All the flavors, as long as they meld together and they blend really well. So I just have like in a strainer, rinsed. I read something very interesting the other day. I almost want to make it less liquid. Anyways, I'll leave it. It was interesting because I was like, wow, it's amazing how something so small can make such a big difference. So it was something that said that, oh, geez, be careful when you shake hot liquid that's covered. It will tend to want to splurt out. But it was on lashes, false lashes, and how false lashes can make a person 30% more attractive. And I was like, well, isn't that interesting? Because I do find myself more attractive when I have the lashes on. You know, and I believe they're talking about more natural lashes, not the spider lashes. If that's your thing, so be it. But I don't find that that's attractive. I don't even know how people can see through that. But to each his own. People that find that attractive. But like I said, the post said that I'm going to go ahead and add the lentils in. Let that cook. That wearing lashes makes a person 30% more attractive. And I was like, it's not interesting. Obviously, I know that it's true, but it made me think how it was interesting that something so minute, like such a small body part, lashes, little hair on around your eyes, lashes, it can make such a big difference, you know. And then obviously my mind just kept going, was like the way little things that we might overlook, any little things, because you know it's small or whatever, we overlook it and it can make such a big difference, make such a big impact, right? So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put, I should just, this is hot, so I'm just gonna put all my roasted veggies into my blender, and I'm gonna take some of the broth that is cooking. I feel like I should take some of the liquid out. It has too much liquid. But I'm think it'll be fine because I did have to add extra liquid yesterday. Anyways, sorry, talking to myself. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting fact, that, you know, having, and it's an enhancement, right? Just like makeup is an enhancement. It's there to help us look better. And lashes is just that. There is a part of me, I will say this because obviously the glue and anything like that, like I am very conscious of things that I put on my body, in my body. Like I make my own lotions, or make my own body butter, and you know, the things I eat and stuff like that. I am very conscious about. I'm not perfect. Not everything I do is going to be healthy. Not everything I use is going to be like the most organic or the most natural or anything like that. I am just doing my best. So with that said, I was like, oh, you know, I wear it because it is an enhancement, and it makes life a little bit easier in the sense of like, I don't have to put on makeup when I go out. I don't have to, and not to say that I have to, but it just helps when I have the lashes to not have to worry about putting on extra makeup. But I do wish that it was not so harmful, because you are using synthetic and God knows what kind of chemicals is in the glue to glue your lashes on, and you know, it does damage your lashes a little bit. So every time I take them off, I do put whatchamacallit, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Castor oil. I do put castor oil on my lashes when I take them off to help replenish, to help grow them back, because as we all know, it does somewhat damage the lashes, and that's why they have all these other ones that comes out that's more natural or magnetic or whatever. Either way, they all have some kind of chemical on it for it to stay on your eyes. So that part, I just wish that, you know, it wasn't so. So I am guilty as being part of the appearance. So I have a little bit of the broth in here, you can see, and we're just gonna go ahead and blend this up. I put everything. Oh wait, I didn't put everything because I forgot the garlic. I'm gonna open the garlic up. Squeeze that baby in there, and that is boiling. I'm going to turn it down while that cooks. It's really, jeez, it's so hot still. Goodness. Oh, this is hot. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can. Squeeze. I should have just cut it in half. It's a lot easier to squeeze it up. A little bit of technical difficulties because I didn't let this cool enough. Ow, ow. We are getting the. Oof. I love roasted garlic. The flavoring is just, and I mentioned this before, I used to hate garlic. Jeez. But now, as I've gotten older, the flavor that it adds is so good. What I should have done, which I did yesterday, I don't know why I didn't do it today, is just cut the whole bulb in half. So that like the opening of the skin and everything is already open. So there's an opening, which means it's easier to squeeze the garlic out. Right now I'm fighting with it. because it's hot and there's no opening and all the skin is on, sticking to my hands. That was a struggle. So that's all out. We're gonna put it on here. This is all blended up, nice and smooth and thick. So we're gonna add this into the broth with the lentils that are cooking. Now, when I did with the sausage yesterday, so the first thing I did before I added the water and the Better Than Bouillon, the seasoning, I went ahead and so I crumbled, or I chopped up the sausage to little like bite-sized pieces, almost like a crumble. I would crumble it if I was using real sausage meat that crumbles like into a ground, but because this wasn't, I just chopped it up into really small pieces, and then I pan fried it first with just a little bit of oil to get a little bit of sear and just to cook it. Put that aside, and then when the soup was almost done, I added it back into the soup to cook with everything, to cook with the lentils and everything. You just want to mix it well together so it becomes like this with the liquid and the blended. Nice and creamy. This is, I knew it was going to be a little bit too watery, but it's fine because as the lentils cook and as we cook it some more, it is going to cook down a little bit to be thicker. And also, like I said, once the lentils cook, it will also make it thicker. And of course, the consistency that you like your soups, if you like it thicker and creamier, if you like it more liquidy, of course, that is all for your own adjustments. You can make it how you want to. And so we're just gonna let that cook in the meantime. We're gonna crumble this up. Now, there's a couple ways you can use this tofu. You hear, I don't know if you can hear the crunch. You can just crumble it up, like break it up like this, and just crumble it up. And I was gonna put it as a topping so that the crunch remains. And that way you just have like the extra texture added to it. Or if you want, if you don't like the crumbly texture, or like with the pieces that are really hard, it doesn't taste burnt, but there are pieces that are like hard. Those I'll put it in the soup, because the liquid from the soup will rehydrate the tofu a little bit and give it the chewier texture rather than the deep crunchiness from it being overcooked. It really is really simple, just like any soups. Soup is just putting a lot of ingredients that you have together, whatever you want, getting the flavors right, and then you can blend it. You can have it like liquidy, however you want, but really simple. It's just what you add to it. And you know, one of the things I think I realized about myself as far as what my gift is when it comes to cooking, because as you all know, I'm not trained, I'm not a professional chef, but I'm really good at flavors. And because I don't measure, like there's a unique gift that I have, and I don't believe I'm the only one that has it, obviously, but to realize my gift, my own gift, I'm just checking my mic, of being able to blend textures and flavors perfectly with just the right balance, because it's about balance, right? Everything in life is about balance. So to blend it, to mix it or combine, not necessarily blend, to combine the flavors so that it marries really well and balances really well from all the seasonings and ingredients that I put in it. Because what I make, everything I make is not at all difficult. As I've said before, I don't believe in like, I like simple. I like simple, tasty food that doesn't necessarily take a lot of time or effort or steps to make it. Most of the times when I look at a recipe, if there's too many steps, or like baking, like I don't bake because you gotta knead the dough out and then you gotta let it rise and then you gotta take it out and you gotta let it rise again and you gotta knead it, like all those steps. I'm like, no, that's just too much. So I like simple things, and like I said, most of the stuff I do is very simple, but it ends up tasting really, really good. And like I said, I think because my gift is actually being able to create and blend flavors together so that it balances really well. Once the lentils are cooked, the only thing we need to do is finish it off with some coconut milk. I can actually add that in now. I have, just to add some creaminess, you don't have to, but I think it adds a nice creaminess to it and a little bit of flavor. Not too much. It's not overpowering because you're not adding that much. Leftover coconut milk. This was actually coconut cream because for whatever reason, when I went to Sprouts, they didn't have any milk left. It was just the cream. So add that in there. It's actually a chunk of cream in here. Very hard cream because I put it in the fridge. It's so hard I can't actually break it to get it out. So it has been just simmering on medium-low heat, even though the side of my burner tends to be a little bit stronger for some reason. It's not even my main burner, but it's pretty much done. The lentils are cooked. Doesn't take long, so we're gonna add spinach in here to finish it off. And I'll also show you the one that I made yesterday, the difference in the consistency. This one definitely, which I knew, but I didn't do anything about it, had a little bit too much liquid for the amount of butternut squash that I had. So it is a little bit runnier. And tasting the difference, the sausage, because obviously the sausage has flavoring, added a different layer of flavors to the soup, obviously, to the overall flavor. And also, when I was cooking, I realized what would actually elevate this even more and make it even better is to throw, do it Jamaican style, throw a scotch bonnet pepper in there whole, just to get the flavor of it into the soup. That would make it much better. So I would suggest, if you guys make it, to add a scotch bonnet pepper in there, let it cook down, just to give it flavor, not necessarily for it to be super spicy. If you want it spicy, obviously you can. But I don't have scotch bonnet pepper in my house, so I'm not going to add it in, but that would definitely make it much better. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to move it over. So I'm going to show you the consistency of the one that I made last night. which is right here. Like, it's a lot thicker. I don't know if you can see. This was the sausage. Like how it's chunked, small pieces of it. So it's thicker. And also because it's cold. It's not heated up compared to, move you over here to this. It's still boiling and it's still cooking down. It's a little bit runnier, but you do see the lentils and the dark pieces are the burnt tofu or the darker pieces of tofu, but that's the consistency. Tasted it, it tastes good. So that's it. It's very, very simple. It's just basically taking your basic butternut squash soup that you would make, but adding more stuff to it for flavor, but also for texture, but also for nutrients. Like I said, protein. I feel like there's a meme going around that's like, the pressure you feel you get in your 40s to eat more protein is worse than like the pressure to do drugs when you were younger. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen those memes, but it's true. Like, you know, for older women, menopausal women, perimenopausal women, protein. And being plant-based, it's a little bit harder to get in the protein. So like I said, being very intentional about adding things in to get more protein. And one of the things I did realize, I mean, yes, you have beans and stuff, and lentils, and tofu, but a lot of times, or sometimes, I'm noticing that in order to get the protein intake, you kind of got to incorporate some of the processed meat that I don't like to use and I don't like to add in. Once in a while, I will use it just to give it a different texture or the flavor. But they do have added protein in there because a lot of them are made with pea protein. So it's kind of like, again, with anything else, finding balance. But yeah, it's just taking the butternut squash soup, whatever recipe, that base recipe that you have. You can roast it, you can cook it in the broth and then blend it, or you can roast it first and then cook the broth separate and blend it and then cook it all together. Like I said, I didn't think about the scotch bonnet pepper until just now when I was cooking it. I was like, oh, that would make it so good. So I would suggest to add that in there. I didn't add it and it was still delicious. But I think adding that would just take it up that notch. So I'm just going to let this, turn it off, let it sit, and that's dinner. And like I said, it is good for meal prep. You can freeze it because it's thick enough and there's all different types of nutrients in it. It's great to just have it as a meal on its own. You don't need anything else. If you wanted a piece of sourdough bread, just, you know, to sop up the soup, you're welcome to. But as it is as a meal, it is perfect. It has your fiber, it has your protein, it has all your vitamins, and it's delicious and it's filling. So I hope you try it and let me know what you think. As always, until next time, stay curious.